Hello everybody, welcome back. Let's have a look at the markets. I mean, to be honest, I am going to do a live stream tonight. I've decided I'm going to do them on Wednesdays and Sundays, so that'll be our Patreon live stream. So if you want to join, there'll be links in the description below. And I feel like that would be a better time to do it. I think Sundays would be quite interesting to do it because we get to see how the markets are positioned for Monday Open, which counts for a lot. Because I think Bitcoin is somewhat used as a pre-market to at least the Nasdaq, but I just think it's probably going to be better this way. So we'll do Sunday nights and Wednesday nights, so just before the beginning of the week and midweek, and it'll give us a nice sort of overview of how the markets are expected to go and how they have gone midweek. But the way it looks right now, it's painful, isn't it really? It's so slow. Now, sideways is better than down, like I was saying yesterday, but sideways is still pretty hard to watch sometimes. So looking at Bitcoin, we're basically sitting around the center of this 4-hourly Bollinger Band, probably, I think, looking to wick down before we go back up, if anything. So the targets are just around just below 100,000 for the 200 exponential, and the simple is 98,400, give or take, That is the possibility, seeing a move down to there and then move back up. Classic golden cross retest, V-shaped recovery, and then some. There's a fair bit of noise, I think, about how the market might have ended. I've seen it on Twitter, I've seen it on the comments. So, my expectation is that if that's how you feel, the best thing to do is to look at the weekly, because the weekly is the only thing that's going to give you top signals. And I don't see a top signal, although, we could be getting close to one, so it's worth recognizing that. Classic top signals, a regular bearish divergence on a money flow index, like here to here. Classic bearish divergence. We saw that over here. We also saw some over here. Classic bearish divergence from here to here. Marking that potential top. Where effectively we exited, over a year back. So we don't have that, right? That's not here. We don't see that. And so, in the absence of that, I find it hard to agree that there's a top on Bitcoin, right? There's also a lot of discussion about why altcoins aren't moving if Bitcoin's going sideways. Well, I mean, Bitcoin isn't really going properly sideways, is it? So it went up, it went down, it went up, it went down. There's lots of things going on behind these charts in between. We've got inauguration, new administration, this, that, and the other, blah, 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 blah. Got tons of stuff going on. And so it's not actually sideways. And also, the main thing I'd be looking for, rather than Bitcoin going sideways to allow for altcoins to go up, the main thing I'd be focused on is Ethereum. And Ethereum, well, it's basically going down, isn't it, really? However, we're still holding this area, which counts for an enormous amount. This is the box of significance, I'll call it. If we ever get back into this box, this is the place to stock up on Ethereum, and it might be a way that you could think about buying altcoins indiscriminately. If Ethereum were to work its way out of this box, it should mark a low, if the low isn't already marked on Ethereum. But looking at Ethereum now, we're sort of getting rejected from these areas. It's still in a golden cross formation though, so as far as the possibility of bouncing and recovering and going on to new local and all-time highs from here, it's more than realistic. It's statistically more likely. That's the that is the situation. So you can't really be bearish on a chart that looks like this. Although I'm not suggesting we're going to go up from the moment that you finish watching the video. But you know that. The next thing, again, it's just a recap similar to that of yesterday. There's really not much change. The total 2. The total 2 has a trend signal in play. You really need to see this start to move over the next couple of days. You don't want to be closing at this price or lower between tomorrow and Tuesday. Really, you have to be higher on Tuesday. So we are hoping, and probably I am expecting higher prices by Tuesday. So we're looking for and if we don't get them, then this trend signal will be cancelled out, and you would be at that point probably looking to swoop these lows and go down a fair bit deeper. So it's there is no black and white, there is no crystal ball, but at the moment statistically more likely to work its way out of here. But if we're here or lower by Tuesday, it's more likely to come down a little lower. You might find yourself scraping these wick lows on the total 2, which is 1.29 trillion. You might be seeing that. You may not be seeing that. It depends on where we are on Tuesday. Have a look at the total 3, which is also bullish. In fact, it's probably more bullish. Yeah, it is still more bullish than than the total 2, because Ethereum is dragging it all down. So once you take Ethereum and Bitcoin out of the picture, you actually have a decent look at the altcoin market, which is broken out above all moving averages with a trend signal, but similar. Well, it's basically the same really as far as the trend signal, which is in play on the Itchy Cloud. You do need to get, you need to either stay at this price or higher by Tuesday, because otherwise you cancel out. If we close lower than this by Tuesday, we are looking to probably come down. And given the nature of altcoins and how dramatic they can move, probably come down a fair bit, to be honest with you. The Bitcoin dominance is above the 58.5% dominance mark, which is, that's the line in the sand, really. We want to see rejections below there. I know that we got a rejection higher than that, around 61, which is fine, but at the moment this is positioned in a bullish way as well, so this does look like it wants to go up. So the odds are in favour of Bitcoin still marking the lead and being the more dominant of all the players out there, as it has been consistently generally for the entire bull market. This is where the big bucks have been made, and yeah, we've made money on altcoins, and some of them we've made some decent money on, but they've been fast gains. This has been consistent, very consistent, and I would like to see the same thing happen for Ethereum, but the sentiment's not there, and to be fair, the money isn't there. I don't think the retails have got enough money. There's just not been that influx of cash coming from retail, which is usually where it sort of goes. That doesn't mean though that there's not been some big buys and slow accumulation on altcoins. And if there is going to be accumulation on altcoins, or if there has been, it's not going to be those stinky, smelly, worthless meme coins, and there's a time and a place, like I keep saying, but I don't think it's going to be that. Let's have a think about XRP. XRP is still looking quite good on the daily, hanging above all moving averages, so the most bullish chart that I look at generally on altcoins. Now this is classic bearish divergence on the money flow index. It just for some reason hasn't registered, but we do have bearish divergence here. So with that, like I was saying a couple of weeks ago, we might be seeing a peak getting marked, but as far as the data is concerned, while we're still above these moving averages, then we have to give credit to them. They are support, they are holding. The 10 exponential is being held around about $3.05. The center of the Bollinger Band is $2.88. The horizontal back down here at 250, and then obviously you could see a significant drop down to 160. It's all hanging in the balance really at the moment. Now, on the flip side of that, you've got a descending Dixie, which is at support, but it's still descending. So this trend would appear to have started to break down a little bit. You'll have bounces, but I think the Dixie might at this point have found its top. And so we're looking to wiggle around and come back down. And it's only when we get to this area down here where we decide if it's really going to break down. And I think it probably is, because that's usually the way that the Dixie will perform at this period in the market. There is a cycle on Dixie, and the Dixie is due to downtrend throughout the majority of this year just based on its own cycle, and find itself down at the bottom of this trend line some point towards the end of this year, or some point this year into next year. Again, we're looking at a very long trend line with a very rough cycle, but there is one in play, and it does exist, and it's similar to the 4-year cycle of Bitcoin, just on the inverse. So I think we are looking for a pullback and a decline on the Dixie, which is going to be good for all the other assets. I mean, all assets generally speaking, but other forex pairs. And finally, we're just going to have a quick look at the S&P, which played all its bearish divergence out on the weekly. So we'll just move over to the daily. And again, yeah, I'm not saying that this is an opportunity. It's just made a new all-time high. We do have one drive bearish divergence. You'd be looking for another drive slightly higher. So I'm not immediately bearish. However, if we do come down on Bitcoin, if we do come down on crypto, I wouldn't at all be massively surprised to see that. But the overall projection is still exactly the same. And this is the thing you've got to hold on to. Time's on our side. The cycle still appears to be on our side. You take off all the noise, put it on the log scale, just to remind myself about what my expectations are and were, and how they're playing, and they're playing just fine. Looking for the breakout here, we got the breakout. Looking for a consolidation of some form, that's fine. We're now looking for another move up at some point this year. It could start next week, it could start the month after, it could start the month after that, but we are looking to go higher on this one. And this is the important thing to recognize. As far as my overall analysis is concerned, my overall plan, the big plan, it's still in play. Accumulate altcoins in this period, done. Easy part of the market, done. Take some profit, done. get back in, wait for the next easy part of the market. It's just frustrating because obviously a lot of people, including myself, obviously we all want to see moves immediately go straight up. We just want to see, you know, green every single day. And that's just not how it's going to happen. You do have to reflect on how well it's performed since November. You know, back in November we had something like XRP was all the way down here, wasn't it really? Again, how good was that as a move? And how much price has that sustained? And, you know, it's done really well. It's done extremely well. In November it's up 500%. Now that's fast gains as far as most markets are concerned, and the fact that it hasn't retraced is also a good sign, because it's not one of those pump and dumps that XRP appears to be doing. There has not been really any opportunity to get back in, and the fact that it's stayed strong this entire time since November is very reassuring. And again, it goes to the idea: keep with the top caps, keep with the strength, keep with the utility. And not with the piles of crap, basically. So that is all there is to say. That everything is exactly the same as it has been since not last December, you know, the one that's just gone, the one prior to that, when we got the first big alt season and you started to scale out around that. From then, all the analysis that I give is based around that idea, that concept, that we had the first initial alt season back down here in October 2023. We got that, brilliant. We had the consolidation. We were we were out of the market for that. We got back in around the end of summer to wait for the next big move up. We got that. We even took profit around December, so to get out before that. We even got back in towards the end of the year, end of December, and now we're looking for that. Now, I'm not saying that what I'm saying is definitely going to happen, and I'm not saying this for any other reason, just to just reiterate what it is that I'm doing here. But these big major swings have been apparent. You know, we got in before. I say we, the royal we. I got in before. I got out towards the peak. I got in towards the bottom. I got out towards this peak, and I got in around this, which I feel is a bottom. And I'll be looking to see the next peak, and I'll decide what it is I'm going to do then. We are drawing nearer and closer to the to what I believe is going to be the big peak, and so you do have to have a more significant plan way ahead of time to anticipate that. But it's all working as expected, you know. Within give or take a few months, it's all working as expected. Right, so I'll leave it with you there. Maybe I'll see you tonight on the stream. Like I say, links in the description below. Other than that, hope you have a nice day. Take it easy.